This is Barry, and this is another video for our music production segment of our Breck After School music program online. So, let's see, I'm just trying to get out of here. There we go. All right, so today's video is going to be about how to use the keyboard section, just the very simple keyboard section on the Garageband iOS. So I opened up Garageband, and it brought me to my menu where it's going to show me what song I want to select, and I'm going to go ahead and make a brand new song here by pressing the plus button in the upper right hand corner. Now it's going to bring me up on this menu that's going to ask me what instrument I want to use. As you saw, it came up for me on keyboard, and that's the one that I'm going to select. Now there are some buttons on the bottom, and we're going to possibly look at those later, but for now we're just going to go to the main keyboard. So we're going to click on the keyboard itself, the biggest one, and it's going to come up like this. Now this is going to be a piano sound starting right there in the middle of the keyboard on C. I can play chords. Yay. Okay. All right, so I just want to go through what some of the different possibilities are here. Okay, so along the top, you still see the timeline for the song. That's not going to really be necessarily relevant until you're actually recording, but we're just going to look at how to actually use the instrument for a second. Okay, so you'll see two arrows in the upper left-hand corner below that timeline, a left and a right arrow. And what those are going to do is they're going to select your octaves. So I've pressed the leftmost button, and now I'll play the same place and an octave down. And I can keep going down a few more octaves. Okay, and so on. And then I can go also up, higher. I went up a couple that time. Okay, so I'm going to go back down to when the normal octave, the center octave, middle C, is going to be C4. So it should say C4 there at the bottom of the key in the middle of the screen. Okay. So now the next little button there is going to be a little slider. It says right now sustain. So when we play, if you hold down the keys, they ring, but if you let them go, oh, I'm sorry, there's a siren going by. It's crazy out there, folks. Stay safe. All right, so when we hold down the keys, they're going to ring, but if I just press them down and lift them up, they're going to stop. If I move this sustain little slider over to the right to where it shows the lock, now when I play a chord and I let go, it's going to keep ringing for a little time, as though I'm pressing the sustain button on a real piano. And that's going to function differently for different sounds, but the idea is it's going to let the note ring. So I'm going to go back to the original position. Now the next little indicator there says glissando. Glissando means to slide, all right, or a slide. So, or sliding, actually, I think literally in Italian. So that means that if I press on a key and I slide my finger across, it's going to play across those keys. Well, why does it say that? Of course, that's what's going to happen. Well, because if I press that, it's going to now go to scroll. So now I can actually scroll through the octaves of my keyboard by just scrolling with my finger up and down through the different octaves. So here's really high, go back down to here, and there's really low. Okay, I'm going to go back to my middle position here, and I'm going to go back to glissando. Excuse me. All right. Now, there's another couple buttons here. All right, so there's a button that has two quarter notes on it. I'm going to press that button, and it's going to bring me to a menu that asks me what key, or not what key, what scale I want to use for the song. Now, there's another place in the settings where I'm going to choose, or I can choose the key of the song. I think Frankie has a video that shows you how to do that. However, if you want the song to have a certain feel, if you want it to be sad, you might want to choose a minor scale. If you want it to have a bluesy feel, you might want to choose one of the blues scales or the minor pentatonic. So there's different feels that you're going to achieve with different scales, and what it does is, I believe it's going to change. It's going to turn off certain keys. Let's try it. Let's try the minor pentatonic scale here. All right. So now. All right, so now it's not actually a real keyboard. Now it's actually only the notes of the pentatonic, which is the 5-note scale. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is going to be the next C. This is the octave. Okay, so that's a way that you can play if you're not really sure what notes to use and whatever. That's a way that you can make music that sort of makes sense together. And it'll help you get an ear for what does work together. So that's can be a helpful tool. All right. So I'm going to go back to off here. Now I'm going to go to the next button, which looks like some stairs. And what that is it's an arpeggiator. An arpeggio is when you play the notes of a chord, but you play them in sequence rather than playing them all together. So you don't hear them in harmony, you hear them as a melody. And they call that an arpeggio. And what an arpeggiator does is, if you tell it what notes to play, it will continuously play through a sequence of those notes repeatedly. And that's a really cool way to get a certain effect. So here, let's just try that and just try a very simple arpeggiation here. So it's going to give us some choices when we tell it to run, or that means we're turning it on. It's going to ask us what the note order is. So that can be as played, or if we select the button here, it can give us different choices. So it can play the notes from lowest to highest, which is up, down from highest to lowest. It can go up and down, which will go up the choice of notes and then back down. And that'll be however many notes you play. If you play 2 notes, it'll go up and down between those 2 notes. If you play 3 notes, it'll go up to the top and then back down to the bottom and then up to the top and so forth. Random will randomize the order of the notes, and then as play is how you played it. So let's go back to that menu. And it's asking the note rate. So that means how fast do I want to have the notes play. So let me just demonstrate as played, and I'm going to start here actually with just a quarter note arpeggiation. All right, so that means it's going to be on just the beat. If I turn the metronome on, you'll hear the notes play right with the beat. Okay, I'm going to go back here, see what else I have. The octave range, let's try that with just the 1 octave. That I'm just going to play a simple arpeggiation, and you can see how that works first. Okay, and is that my last one? Yeah, it is. Okay, so I'm done here. All right, so now if I hold the keys down, so it's going to play those 3 keys from lowest to highest. I guess that's how I played it. Now if I let go, it's going to let go. However, if I look back up where I had before the button that said sustain, now it says instead latch. Now if I move that to the right, now it's going to play the notes even after I let go. So watch this. So now I guess I pressed them in a different order, but it's still playing them as I played them. Okay, I'm going to go back to the arpeggiator now. Actually, let's do a four note chord. Let's try this one. Okay, now we'll go back to the arpeggiator settings. And let's see what happens when we change the order. So we're going to now just go to up. Now it's going from lowest to highest. Now when we go to down, now it's going from highest to lowest. And now when we go to up and down, randomize it. Now it's randomizing it. Okay, let's go back to up and down because that's fun. Go back to our settings and see what happens when we change the note rate. So I'm going to change it from quarter note to eighth note. Now it's going to play twice as fast. That's twice as fast as whatever the quarter note beat rate was. And that's going to be set by the tempo, which will be in the settings. Let's try 16th note. And now it's twice as fast again. And now 32nd note is going to be twice as fast. Go back to eighth note for a second, and let's hear what happens. Well, actually, no. We're gonna try our different dotted choices. So these are going to be syncopations. So here's the quarter note dotted. So now each note is a beat and a half long. So it's 1 quarter note and a half, which is a dotted quarter note. When we go to an eighth dotted, it's going to be 3/4 of a beat long each. Let's try the 16th note dotted. And the 32nd note dotted. So you see there's all kinds of different feels that we can create. Let's go to the quarter note triplet. This is going to be where we have 3 notes in the space of 4 quarter notes. Now, when you try these all out against the beat, they're all going to have a distinct feel. We'll try some different ones out in a moment. And here's a 16th note triplet. Sounds similar to the 32nd note dotted, actually. Okay, let's go back to our... Alright, now the next choice that we have here is the octave. So this is going to expand the range of the arpeggio, and it'll play across however many octaves we tell it to. So let's try increasing it by 1. That's 2 octaves, and here's 3. And 4 octaves. Alright, now let's go back to 2 octaves for now. And let's go to the 16th note. I'm going to say done for right now. Now this can be really cool with different sounds. That's just a piano arpeggiation. But if we select here... Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was a mistake. Uh-oh. Okay. Let me just do all that stuff again really quick. Make it up and down. And we were on a 16th note, 2 octave range. Okay. It's actually here, the upper left-hand corner button. I'm going to go to where it says grand piano, and that's going to give me a choice of different sounds. So I'm going to go to, let's say, to a synth bass. That'll be fun to try. Let's try a fat mono bass. That sounds good. And I played, okay, so it moved us down into the lower range, but that's cool. I'm gonna play, let's see if I can play this chord right now. I have to turn the arpeggio on. Oh, I guess when you change instruments, it may turn the arpeggiator off. So you're going to want to try some different things out. This should now be on. There we go. So let's latch that. Combination of a few different controls that you find out of the synthesizer, so you have to try it out and try the different knobs out and see what they do. Glide time, I'm not sure what that does, but that may be how long it takes if you play two notes together for them to slide between each other. Let's try that. Anyway, there are some fun ways that you can work with the keyboard on Garageband iOS. I'll explore more and look into some other ones and think of some fun ways that you guys can make the music that's in your minds. Alright, until next time, this is Barry. Thanks, and hope you enjoyed.